make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Oh, amen, amen. 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 Oh, amen. 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 Kutsasın, korusun, aydın yüzünü göstersin, sana lütfetsin, Rab yüzünü sana devirsin, esenlik versin. Oh, amin, 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 amin. Can we sing together? Amen, amen, amen. 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 May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May his favor be upon
If you want to rise to your feet and let's do this together.
generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you. He is with the morning, in the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you. 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 He is amen. Amen.
And so, God, we thank you for today. And we thank you for your many blessings upon us. And we're excited that you could bring us together from different nations, different backgrounds, to come and share ideas, to come and sing and worship you and pray to you. And we thank you for this privilege. We do not take it for granted, Lord. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed. Amen and amen. If you want to put your hands together for God, just go ahead and do that. And I'm very excited to welcome all of us today. Thank you. If this is your first time coming here today, like someone has said over and over, this is the ABL Church, and we're super excited to have you here. And today I'm very sure that you're going to go home with something. Amen. So, and I know that God has blessed you even as we worship, as we pray. Someone always asks me, and that's a question I get every time when I say, oh, I go to church. They ask me, what do you do in church? I said, well, I pray in church to God. And they ask, how do you pray? I said, well, the same way I speak to my friend is the same way I speak to God. There's no special thing you need to do. You don't need to do any special, there's no special drama around it. I just talk to God as I speak to my friend. And what do I talk to God about? Everything. Everything. I have problem at work, I talk to God. There's someone who doesn't want me to graduate, I talk to God. And I talk to God basically about everything. I'm looking for a job, I talk to him. I'm stressed out, my day was rough. How come when I say, God, my day was rough? Help me. And that's all that I say. Sometimes we make prayer look so difficult, but it's so easy to talk to God. Amen. I want you to turn to the person beside you and say, I'm happy to be seated by you today. Oh, say it convincingly. I'm happy to be seated by you today. Now, if you don't know the person's name, could you ask and say, please, what's your name? Where are you from? Isn't that the most popular question in Turkey? That's the most popular question for me as a foreigner. Where are you from? Anybody agrees with me? That's the most popular question in Turkey. Where are you from? Heckers, everybody, where are you from? I get into the taxi, the first thing I hear is, where are you from? I come out of the taxi, where are you from? I want to buy meat or fish, where are you from? I want to buy nuts, where are you from? Guys, so now, if I'm with Joyce and someone asks me, where are you from? Joyce is my brother. And this is the most beautiful thing about Turkey here. Just imagine, this guy shares the same color with me, Pascal. Pascal has the same color with me. So because he has the same color with me, every time somebody sees me with him, they say, oh, that's your brother. So every time someone sees me with Joyce and say, oh, that's your brother, I said, yes. And say, where are you from? I'm from Madagascar. So next time they see me with somebody from Kenya, where are you from? I'm from Kenya. But then this is the beautiful one I started doing now. When I see two Turkish people and they ask me, so Joyce is your brother? I said, yes. I said, Zeynep is your brother, your sister, right? He said, no. I said, but Sana Benzio. Because since we look alike, we should automatically be brothers, right? Okay. But it's a beautiful thing that all of us are, we come together regardless of where we are or where we come from, to come and pray together. So wherever you're from, I'm super excited to welcome you, whether you're from Nigeria, from Turkey, Kenya, Rwanda, South Africa, wherever you come from, Rwanda, Burundi, Iran, wherever you're from, South Africa, Herkes hoş geldiniz. Burası Türkiye. Please, you may be seated. Okay. I've been promising you that today is going to be a very wonderful, wonderful day, because I'm going to be having conversation with two of my favorite people in Izmir. Amen. One of the hardest things, who would agree with me that one of the hardest things to do is to find somebody that you can sit with in Turkey and the person wouldn't ask you 1,000 questions about your family? That's the hardest thing to find here. Because every time I sit with my Turkish friends, they want to interview me. and ask me about my grandfather, my grandmother. They ask me, the weirdest question is, how did you come to Turkey? Sometimes I say I came by swimming. And sometimes I say I ran to Turkey. And the funniest one is, do you guys have houses in Africa? I'm like, no. I said, the monkey is my neighbor. I said, the day I came, the lion came with me. That's what you get. But the persons that we're going to be chatting with today, I say, been very, very much a blessing to me. And they don't have time to ask me, do you have water in Africa? Okay, so feel free to ask your questions. I'll be asking questions. And we said we have a professor, we have a medical doctor, and thank God the medical doctor feels what I feel because he's a Nigerian myself. So, hoş geldiniz. Burası Türkiye. Nasıl geldiniz burada? Nasıl? You flew, değil mi? Uçak var mı Nijerya'da? Uçak var mı? Bilmiyorum yani. Ben düşünüyorum sadece hos var. Okay, so we're going to be chatting with the doctor, the professor, the legal practitioner. For some of us, we know her because she's been with us. She's a visiting member of our church. She's been with us and she's been very kind to us, very supportive. Every time we've had few challenges in the church, I've had the privilege to go to her. I've had the privilege to send some members to her, and she has never said, don't send anybody to me. She's been very kind. So if you have questions, you're going to... and then I'm going to leave that one at the end. So please, if you don't mind, let me start welcoming our guest today. And please, I'm going to start by welcoming my first professor. My first master's was in Yashar University. Even the second one is in Yashar now. And I remember one day I was going through a lot during that period in my life, and I was missing classes. I wasn't doing too well and all of that. I didn't find the concentration. And then one of the lecturers looked at me and said something very bad to me, something I was very offended by. And I knew that I've heard a lot of Africans complain about people say things like that to them. But I said, when people say such things to me, I feel like I need to stand up and say no. So I looked at the lecturer. I said, sir, please, do not ever try to talk to me like I'm a kid anymore. I said, I paid my bills to come here, and that means I know what I'm doing here. If I don't come to class, it's not because I don't want to come. If my grades are bad, it's not because I want them to be bad. But she always made me feel like I could do it, even when I thought that myself that I couldn't do it. And if you come from Nigeria and Africa, it is such women, we don't treat them as professors, we treat them as moms. I don't know for you, but for me, that's how we treat them, as moms. Thank you. We treat them as mothers, and for me, she's been like a mother. I always say to her, I'm glad to meet with you and I'm glad to share my time with you when I come talking. So she's a professor from the English Department of English, Yashar University. Please put your hands together as I welcome Professor Tuba Geyikler. Thank you, please. Thank you, please. Thank you for coming. Very kind of you to come. Thank you. I actually didn't know she would be willing to come. But I'm glad when she said, yeah, she's going to come. So let me go to our very own doctor. Is a Nigerian. And anytime have you ever been to the hospital as a foreigner before? Is it very easy? Sometimes you think your skin problem is like, they think that the injection won't go through your veins. So I was excited when I found that a Nigerian doctor got a job in Egapol. So I just simply said to myself, all other hospitals in Turkey. Gurushurus yani. Be that girl me jam. So every time I have a little, I know that someone understands me. Someone would know what I'm feeling. Somebody, someone would not misdiagnose me. And someone will pay me attention. So, and he's been here as a student, graduated as a medical doctor. So if you're a student here, you study medicine or anything you're studying, he's got well of experience to share with you today on how you can get that done. So please put your hands together for Dr. Moses. You're welcome, brother. Pleasure to meet you. Okay. And now, I have a surprise. I'm trying to pull something from my jacket, This friend of mine, every time he sees somebody wearing a jacket with too many colors, he tells me, just hold on. He's about to pull out a magic. Because everyone with coat of many colors just pulls out magics. A few days ago, someone who's been here with us for 5 years graduated as a PhD student. Amen. Let's clap already. And I thought to myself that it would be nice to have him around since he's a freshly minted PhD professor. And not just that, he's a committed member of the church. Ta-na-na-na-na. Yeah, he's ta-na-na-na-na. He's da-da-da-da-da. He's there also making sure the sounds come out well oftentimes. So let's put our hands together for Dr. Odes Anihovi. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, please be seated. And I feel every time I make presentations in my class now that we do video presentations, I make sure I end the slides with a Nigerian language. So they asked me why. I said, it's my language, and I love it. And they said, but you always change language. I said, as many languages I speak, I will use. So every time I finish, I'll say, the end look with cinema. So the first day they asked me, what's that? The end look with cinema. I said, it means every time you see the end, it means cinema has finished. Go home. Okay, so now please, I want to welcome a friend, someone that I'm going to meet a friend. When I go to her office, I sit down for like 2-3 hours and I forget myself. And we talk, and I'm thinking I'm saying, come, it's up in here. And she's like, oh, we've been talking for so long. Time just, goes and we don't even know that we're talking. She's been an amazing friend, I don't know the word to describe. But I'm always very grateful. And thank you. She's a lawyer. Please put your hands together for Advocate Özlem Karadağ. Thank you so much. Okay, so can someone help me? I need to flip this mic this way so that, do you mind? Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to ask the questions, and feel free to ask any question that you want to ask. You got papers. We have Sister Adele is going to give you the papers. If you want to ask any questions, feel free to write your question down, and I'm sure they'll be willing to answer your questions. Okay, unless I forget, Bible tells us to give honor to whom honor is due. So I'd like us to acknowledge the presence of grandmother. Ane. Bizima ane brudayane. Please clap for Ane. Hush gardeners. Okay. All right, so let's okay, maybe I'll start with, let me start with you, Oja, and say, how does it feel to be here today? There's a microphone around so people can, you can always use this.
Okay, thank you. Mr. George.
George.
Chigozie, may I call you?
Yes, Chigozie. That's the only person, one of the few persons that calls me Chigozie here.
Chigozie, I thank you so much. I feel so privileged to be here because expressing thanks to God has no place, has no time. It is always good to be among people, appreciating life. Thank you for that. Thank you sharing your style of thanking God with me. That's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's so nice to meet all these young people. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Maybe I'll come to you. I know you've been here before. How does it feel to be back and
To be here with you, it's always so much fun and so much praying and so much interesting also. You know, as the professor here said, so it has no specific way to call God. So, and your style is so much different for me, for us as the Turks, you know, and it is so much interesting also. So I'm so much happy to be here. Thank you for inviting.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. You're welcome. Okay, Dr. Moses. How are you, sir?
I am fine, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm really very, very appreciative of you and the whole church as a body of Christ for accepting us, inviting us to be part of your service. And I am really honored to be here today. And I hope that the discussions we are going to be having here would be very much beneficial to everyone here. And I hope that we all will be blessed at the end of the service. Thank you.
Dr. Oates, how does it feel to finally say, yes, I'm done?
First of all, thank you, sir, for honoring me today. I feel much relieved, that's the truth. Because, as you know, it's not that easy. As my pastor and my friends, you know what I have been through so far. So I'm much happy, and I can easily say I'm done. I'm really done. And being here today is like, you know, yesterday I realized that I have really missed home. This is how I call this place. And I'm happy to be back.
Oh, good.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
You're welcome. So let's get into the real discussion. Maybe I go back to Professor Tuba. And maybe the first question I'll start with, I know you've worked with students from undergrads, masters, PhD. How does it feel? What's your experience with students at all of these levels?
Can you explain a bit
Like,
more?
what's your experience? How does it feel? What are the challenges working with students from undergrads, masters, PhD? What's been the experience like?
The general challenge related to Turkish student or
And,
foreign students,
we'll get to the foreigners.
because different challenges appear when the students is from Turkey or from another country. From Turkey, in Turkey we have a problematic system of education during the middle school, high school, etc. And it creates challenges for a university student, whether the student is undergrad or graduate students. And the background of the student, whether undergraduate or graduate, is very important. And let me tell you that from the European students are in a good relationship with learning, what learning is. They believe that learning is their right. But from the countries, in the countries like ours, it is not a kind of right. That is something imposed upon students. So in countries like ours, it is not fun to learn. It is an obligation. Most of the time, it is almost punishment. a way of punishment. So the relationship between learning and knowledge is very important for an undergraduate or graduate student, whatever level that student is. And it is related to the background, just as I said.
So if I get you correct, you're trying to say learning should be fun,
Yeah.
not sort of obligatory.
Yeah, it is fun, right? And when you don't learn that it is fun, it becomes something, a burden-like thing. You don't enjoy choosing your future profession as well when it is not fun. Because learning and studying at a university means that you are going to earn your life with that profession, right? And when you think that your profession is a burden, it's not easy to serve people in your profession either. So whatever the system of education teaches us, I believe that we need to find that ground to enjoy learning, whether it is related to our profession or not, because sometimes an unrelated subject would be helpful in our profession as well. So it is good to create a friendly relationship with knowledge, especially when it is so easy in our age to reach knowledge, you know. That friendly relationship with knowledge is the basic of having a good education, whether the school, the university is good or not. It depends on the enthusiasm of the student, whether you get a good education or not. That is what I have learned in this last 25 years.
Wow. 25 years as a lecturer.
Yeah.
Wow. How many of us can say that here, studying here is fun? Nobody. Oh, one person raised their hand. That's a good hand. At least one out of almost 50 people said yes, that's fun. That's fair enough, at least. Okay, thank you so much. I know a lot of people have a question for you. I know a lot of people have questions for you. When people see lawyers, they see questions. When people see lawyers, they see problems to solve. You know, so I'll start with saying, what is the first thing that foreigners should be worried about or should be careful about in Turkey? What is the first thing legally? What is the first thing a foreigner should be careful about?
They must be careful about what they are signing. Yeah, of
Documents.
course, documents. Everyone must read what you are signing. It is so much important because, and if you're signing a legal thing, you must ask to a lawyer. I think that is the most important thing.
I remember on many occasions every time I get a job offer, I remember one trick works always. I say, can I send this to my lawyer? And I say, okay, bida, sora. They will take it back, and then later they give you another one. because there's this feeling here that, I don't know if anybody gets that feeling, that once you're a foreigner, once you're a black foreigner, Malasef, there's this feeling that you don't know what you're doing. There's this feeling that once you're a black foreigner, you don't know what you're doing, you don't understand, and there's this feeling that anything given to you, you can just take it. That's I don't know if that's the feeling you get. I don't know what you. Maybe I just get that from you. Yes, you were going to say something.
Yes, the truth is that most often African doesn't really know their rights. This is what I mean basically, and Turkish peoples, and let's say also that the system in Turkey doesn't really involve the possibility of foreigners really working the system, and Turkish people knows that, and then they take advantage of that to play with us. This is the reality. So your trick is very good. Let me send it to my lawyer, and then they can adjust. I think that I learned that today.
It is not a trick he asked.
Yeah, I'm serious. On many occasions, I've sent my documents, job offers to her. I say, can you please read through this? If I'm making any business arrangement, I always will say, please, can you give me a few minutes? Let me run through this. Let me run through this with my lawyer and see whatever she says to me. And it always, they always come back changing their offer or thinking about it again, because they sort of feel like you don't know what you're doing. Let me ask another question here. When someone threatened me with police recently, and I shared an experience here in church. I called these guys to come fix something in my house, and it was my washing machine. They looked at it. I said, "What is wrong?" And they said, "The motor is bad." And I said, "Okay, pick it up and fix it." I said, "How much?" They said, 650 Turkish liras. I paid them, and they took it. After a few days, they brought it back. And then on the day they brought it, they said it's 1 year guarantee that you can use it. And after 20 minutes, it made a crazy loud noise and stopped working. So I called the guys again, and the guys came back and said, "Oh, something else is bad inside. We have to take it again." And I said, "But that's not my problem. I'm not going to pay. You're going to fix it." And they said, "No, it's a new piece, another thing." I said, "But when I called you, this is the problem. I asked you, what is wrong?" So, but because I know that I'm a foreigner, and there's a chance that if I argue about this, they can come with their brothers and fight me. So I said to myself, what I'm going to do is, okay, you guys fix it and bring it. So when they brought it, I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay you $250 now. Then you come back after 2 months. Let me make sure it's working. Then a few weeks later, the guys call me and start threatening me with the police. Like, we're going to come with the police to take the money. I'm like, what? In that situation, what should I do? I didn't call you because I could do that myself. What should anybody do in that situation?
The police will not come for that.
Why?
Why? It is not the job for the police. I mean, there are other ways, legal ways to take your money from someone. When you go to the police station, they will not come with you to take the money from the...
So the police are not debt collectors?
No, of course not. So, and it is a dispute between people dealing with the money. So it's nothing to do with the police. So they cannot come with the police. And also, they don't have anything written which they took from you saying that I will pay this is my money. So there is no way for them to take that money from you. But of course, they will not give you the machine.
But I have the machine now.
Oh, okay then. They cannot do anything.
But I have a good conscience. I made a word and I said, I'm going to give you, so I'm going to give them.
No, you don't have to. You paid once. You paid. You don't have to.
Now, that's so easy for her to say, oh, I don't have to. But I know I have to because they can get their brothers and deal with me. And before I see a lawyer, I can be in the hospital.
Then you can go to the policeman and they will come. You will call the police then, and they will come. And also you can say that you will go to police and say that they are threatening you. That is a crime. So when you go to the police station and say that these guys are threatening me for paying me more money, and they will do something to them. So you can go and you can say that to them. If you come here again or if you call me again, I will go to the police station and you will be bothered with the police.
So what you're trying to say is...
you have rights.
Okay, foreigners have rights. Hallelujah.
Yeah. They have all the rights that a Turkish citizen has in here.
Except you can vote and cannot vote and cannot be voted for.
That's all. But you have all the rights. And please ask to lawyers. They will help you. And they will show you the way. And you can always call me. And I have my phone number in George. and you have rights, and don't. I'm so angry with the person who's making those kinds of treatments, especially to the foreigners, because it's so hard to live in a foreign country, and you're not tourists here. You're living here. You have a life in here, and even it's too hard to express yourself in another language. When I go to a foreign country as a tourist, it makes me, you don't know the roads, you don't know the rules and everything, you don't know the religion, you don't know the language. It's so hard to stay there even for 5 or 6 days as a tourist. And you are living in here, and you must know that you're equal to a Turkish person here. So go after your rights, and the policeman will help you, and people will help you in Turkey. And I will help you, and she will, and they will. So go for your rights. I mean, don't pay that money, please. If you want, really, I get angry. I will call them if you want. No, don't pay. Okay?
Okay, I get the part that, okay, even if you're a foreigner here, you have rights, and there are laws that protect you as a foreigner. And I ask myself, one of us had experience during this week, and she was traveling to ease me, and in the bus, the police stopped the bus and asked everybody, can you raise your kimlik, your ID? And everybody raised their ID, and they looked at the IDs, and then when they got to her, they said, can we have your ID? They took her ID, they looked at it, and it was her, and they said, please, can we also have your international passport? And she's the only one they did that to in that bus. In that situation, what should I say? What should I do as a foreigner? Because I'm the only one, I'm being singled out there. Everybody has shown you their IDs. You didn't take a second look at it, but you've taken mine, you've seen my face on the ID, and you still want my international passport. You're asking me 1,000 questions. What should I do at that point? Because I feel like I'm being singled out now.
You cannot do anything for that. I mean, police has the right to do that. So, and they are doing that for security of the common. And by the ID, for a Turkish citizen, the policeman from the system can see all the criminal background of the person, if there is. But for the foreigners, it is not possible for them, I think. So it's the right for them to ask the passport. But if you don't have it with you, then what can he do? If the ID is with you, then he cannot do anything. I mean, if you'll say that, no, I don't have my passport with me, I don't have to carry that with me always, and he cannot do anything. He cannot punish you or make you to show it, because you don't have to. If you have the ID, that's enough. But if policeman wants to make a further research, yes, he can ask.
Okay. Because normally I just feel like I'm being singled out at that point.
But don't be so much. Yes, you're right. But for example, as a woman driver, in the place that I live, always at nights there is a police car there, and he stops the cars. When I look at the person who they stops, they never stop me because I'm a lady and I'm good looking, and yes, they're not stopping me. Sometimes I'm drunk maybe, but they're not stopping me, but they're always stopping the men or the not good looking, I mean the as a person, I mean, you know, when you look the dirty one or the how can I say, not the honey, not the face, I'm saying.
Just not looking well dressed.
Yeah, and so you know, we in the university we had lessons teaching the to find in the old ages they were looking to the person and saying you're a criminal or not.
Just by the dress.
Yeah. just like that. So I think they're doing the same thing. By just looking, you're criminal, you're not. So they're also doing this to us.
So what you're trying to say now, everybody, I think you might need to take hold of that. You know, sometimes dress well.
Yeah, always.
You know, I said just sometimes just dress well.
Yes. For example, I'm using this while there is the security in some public place or some place that I can never get in without saying showing my ID. For example, in a hospital, only the doctors can pass, but I will pass. I'm not looking inside the eye of the person. I'm going, then it makes. Yeah, it works really.
You know, one of the things like you confident about yourself.
Yeah,
you're
be
confident
confident. Don't say that I'm a foreigner, so that they want passport from me. Why am I not good looking? No, be confident. It
Just
works.
be confident.
Yeah, but if it doesn't work, then call me. I will. I will clean the barriers for you, the obstacles for you.
So she's saying, dress well, be confident, be legal. Just when they talk to you, do all of this. Then if it doesn't work,
Call me.
just call.
I will help
Okay. All right, great. Let's get to Dr. Moses. Dr. Moses, it's been a wonderful time knowing you, actually. I remember a few years ago, we met together at a hospital. We had an issue that we were trying to handle together. And can you share with me, I was surprised when you said here, maybe you said it before and I forgot, that you've been here for 15 years as a student and you studied medicine and now you're a medical doctor. What is your experience being a student? And the time you were here 15 years ago, not many foreigners.
Yeah.
So what was your experience? What is your experience now also as a student now, before, and as a medical doctor now as a foreigner?
Well, hello everyone. I am not actually a mental specialist. I'm a surgeon, by the way, and I am here to actually share my personal experience with everyone here. So feel free to ask me any question you wish to. I was here in Turkey. I came to Turkey in 2006, and I went to Ankara for a year to study the Turkish language, after which I went to Istanbul for 6 years for medicine, and then to Izmir for another 6 years for my postgraduate. And during that time, I would say it's been pretty tough. It's a tough country. There wasn't a lot of foreigners when I came, and very little foreigners we had. We try as much as possible to keep in contact and create friendship. But at the same time, I try as much as possible to learn the Turkish language and the culture and try to, be part of it. Because actually, if you're not part of the Turkish culture and language, and if you don't understand the basic situation in the country, then you stand the chance of being, things get a bit harder for you, actually, if you are not, if you don't accept the culture. For me as a student, it was quite a bit hectic because I had very few challenges with the language. Having just 9 months of Turkish language is not enough for you to have to survive in an academic situation. So the first 2 years of my medical career is just basically trying to balance my academics with the language, because for me to be successful, I need to understand the language in my profession. So it's been tough, but there are ways to get through it, and if you concentrate, if you talk to the right people, if you talk with the right professors, make the right friends, then you wouldn't have a problem. But another thing is, after my graduation, I got a job, and I'm not now working, and like I said, I see myself as a Nigerian and as a Turkish person as well. So it's getting to learn and get involved in the culture made things much easier for me when I start working, because I then have to understand. I did understand the Turkish people, the way they think, their culture, and how to treat them, and how to treat them with respect, and how to gain their respect as well. So after 15 years and during my working time here, I really feel that as a student, I could have done much better, you know. I could have been more, you know, receptive of other foreigners and other students, get involved in university clubs, get involved with a lot of social activities, expand my world and horizon. Then I think it would have been much more better if much easier to scale through if I had done those things.
Okay, great. A few weeks ago, I think it was Ada who is that's Ada there. She's a mental health specialist. She's also doing her PhD, and she's been involved in a lot of
I've
mental.
met her once.
Oh, everybody has met. You see, I said it. Everybody knows you.
Yeah.
You know, she did say something here, and she was like, regardless of where you come from as a student, it will be challenging. She said that, and I'm glad that you're repeating that it will be challenging. And I also say I had the privilege of not being in a government school. So even in a private school, it's still challenging, you know. So someone spoke to me a few days ago and was like, "How was your first exam?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm so sad. It wasn't good. It wasn't like." I'm like, "I've heard that 1,000 times, yeah." But one thing everybody will always say eventually is that they did well. So if you're here and you're feeling like, "Oh, I'm a new person here. I'm studying new. My academics are tough," you can hear Dr. Moses simply saying, "You can do it. He's done it. You can do it, and you can." And also you have God on your side. That is, I think that's the biggest of it for me. You have God on your side. You're working hard, just like He's worked hard, and you're definitely going to get through. But you mentioned something. I'd like to go back to that. He said connecting with other foreigners, other Africans. I find it funny that I'm on the street. I'll give you an example. I was in Konak, South Kulesi a few years ago, and I met an African guy, and I just wanted to say hello, how are you? And the guy just ignored me. Didn't say hello, didn't say anything. Then I don't know what happened. Later we met again. Just a few minutes apart, we met again. And then he said hello to me. Then I realized that he had a problem. He had a problem. And then when he understood who I was, if you know me, if I call you, I say my name is Chigozie George. You never hear me say anything about church or ministry or what I do here. No, I simply introduce myself as a person. So that if you can't relate with me on the basis of me as Chigozie George, I don't want you relating with me on the basis of me being a pastor.
Right.
I don't want you, because you feel like, oh, now you got to respect me because you know we have people here who come. No, I want you to see me as a person and relate with me as a person. If you think I'm bad, then I'm bad as a pastor. If you think I'm good as a person, then I'm good at the other way. Yeah. So a few minutes later, he finds out who I am and says, "Oh, you can help me." I'm like, so what would you say to foreigners who refuse to connect with each other? And that will lead me to the next question. Yeah. What is the place of community? What does community, connecting with the community, building a community of support, how does that help you overcome the challenges of being a foreigner?
Well, as a student, I mean, while I was in the university, the worst feeling I've ever hated my whole life was the feeling of helplessness. As a student, you reach a certain level whereby your language is, you know, your Turkish knowledge of Turkish language you feel is insufficient, right? That is one. And secondly, you are in a different academic situation with different professors, maybe people from other universities as well. So when you encounter a problem, right, the feeling of not being able to solve that problem is a burden on you. You feel quite helpless, you know. So the basic thing I tried to do to solve my problem was, at the beginning, I tried as much as possible to get interested with the Turkish language on its own. I try to improve myself. I try to understand it. I try to understand the culture and the people as well. In doing that, then you are able to not only connect with your foreign friends, you are able to connect with your Turkish friends as well. Both of them is very, very important.
Connecting with your the other foreigners and the citizens
and the
as well.
Turkish ones as well. I mean, the basic mistakes a lot of foreign students have is they try to remain secluded with foreigners. Well, I don't speak Turkish so much, so let me just hang out with people that I understand, people that speak English. But what you don't realize is that you're living in a Turkish society. And Turkey hasn't been long that Turkey began to open up to foreigners, right? So if you don't understand your Turkish friends, and you only stick around with your foreign friends, whenever you encounter a problem that could have been solved by with a friendship with a Turkish person, then you end up in a situation of helplessness because your foreign friends don't have enough information and knowledge to solve your problem. Your Turkish friends do, but if you do ignore them, then you fall into a situation of helplessness.
But some persons don't even connect with the other foreigners. Some persons don't even connect with other foreigners. Like I said to you,
that's another.
I've seen on many occasions just to say hello. You're wondering.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's only when they suddenly see that, oh, that's not just Chigozie George. Somebody then says, sometimes I say hello to them somewhere, they don't. Then on Sunday they come and they see me.
Right.
And everybody just gets to be nice. And that really put me up. My question is really, how important is it that I'm able to connect with even foreigners itself, foreigners too?
Connecting with foreigners and connect with Turkish people is very, very important. This is why it's important, because as humans, we are social beings. We have to interact. Whether whenever you don't interact, then you end up in a situation of loneliness. You know, you end up being alone, and loneliness is like a kickstart to a whole lot of mental and psychological issues. When you don't have friends, you don't connect with other people, then you begin to have this loneliness, and loneliness tends to transfer into anxiety and then depression, and before you know it, you have very, very high psychological pathologies. So connection with people is actually very important, because whenever you talk with someone, you connect with someone, when you have any worries or anxiety, you talk about it. And when you talk about it, it's the first step towards a solution if you have a problem. So having to connect with your friends, both foreigners and Turkish people, is actually the first step you can take towards, getting socialized and acquainted with life in a campus.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll just quickly. My next question is to Professor. That will connect me to you, because I know you're a freshly minted doctor, freshly minted. So, I'll go back to my question is: most students are frustrated with lecturers. I feel like if I'm to speak about my CV of what I do, I think how do I pull it? I'm the bed upon it everyone falls on here after they've been frustrated with their professors in school, frustrated, they just come back here and they talk to you, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? I'm not your problem. But a lot of people are frustrated with their professors. Maybe when they're writing their theses, they're frustrated, But I was never frustrated writing my thesis with you, please. I'm not trying. When you want to ask a question, you say, my friend, while actually your friend is you. But this is not like that. It's not me now. I mean, a lot of students are frustrated with their professors when they're doing their theses and all of that. How can a student get the best from their professors, from their supervisors, maybe a thesis or something? How can the student get the best?
Unfortunately, you're right.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's good to be right.
It is possible that you can have problems with your professors, because professors are people, and some people can be difficult to communicate with, and I would recommend you to be just like Chigozie, because for a graduate student and for an undergraduate student, again, I will repeat myself. Being a university student is knowing what to do. what you learn in university is the methods of learning. The rest of the learning process is your job, actually, because we consider students as grown-ups, and they are. Undergraduate students and especially graduate students are grown-ups. And when you feel you are frustrated with your student, and most probably you're right, just focus on your study. And once you learn how to study, then that means you don't need your professor that much. Just study, do your work for your own sake, and try to get good friends with your professors. Try to understand what they want. What is their weakness? It is basic human relationship. And unfortunately, that is a kind of hierarchical relationship, and you are asked to be obeying and paying your respects to that professor. This is related to the ego of people most of the time, and this is what life is, actually, because how you connect to that problematic professor is going to be a kind of preparation for your later problematic relationships in life and your professional life. What I would recommend is not to take things personally, and be brave and hardworking for your own sake. Don't give up in such situations. That is the best idea that I can come up with, actually.
You know, one of the things I could have done before today was to send the questions to them, but I didn't want a prepared answer. Because if I had sent the questions to you, you would have prepared it and said, okay, let's give this, let's give this, let's give this. I wanted answers that are on spot. And that's what we're getting. So thank you so much. Let's go to the freshly minted doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. How did you, I know a couple of times, we spoke about the challenges you were having with your professor and all of those things. How did you manage it?
First of all,
She's laughing at you.
first of all, I wanted to say something really important. The professor said it before me, and my other friend also said it. Mentorship is really important, but it also needs a conducive environment, meaning that your supervisor, your mentor, or your advisor, you need to choose carefully your mentor, your supervisor, your advisor, because it's definitely going to impact the result you will have.
So do you have a choice about choosing your professor?
Yes, I did choose, because at least they give you that right. Okay. How did I go about? Like he said, I tried to understand first how the system works in Turkey. Because there are different stages when you are in the university system. There's associate professor, there's professor, there's full-ground professor. Now, the problem is most often in Turkey, when they are already professor, they don't work again, because they feel like they have made it. They don't want to, I don't know.
They don't want to push themselves or do extra.
You get me? So, first thing, I chose someone who was associate professor, because he needed to get to the stage of professor, and he needed my PhD for that. So, all the professors in the department, I put them aside. Because those people, they are already professors. So they don't need to publish any articles. They don't need to work. They don't need to conduct any research. It means that you work, it's your problem. You don't work, it's your problem.
They just need to look at your paper and say, get.
That's the truth. And the other thing also is that you need to be really focused. Being in Turkey is, I'm sorry for what I'm going to say, it's a pain.
It's a pain.
Yeah, because, I don't know, if you need to really be strong emotionally and also here in your mental to really be in Turkey. The system is really something else. And I remember that I needed to prove to my supervisor that I was worth it because he was never having time for me. So what did I do? The first year when we were having our classes, it was 100% in Turkey. And I just studied Turkish for 6 months. So I needed to get used to. I was obliged to suppress any other play or whatever it is. I was just school, church, dorm, school, church, home. Every day, I was trying to read 3 articles per day in my field, 2 in Turkish and 1 in English. I never missed that for 1 year. This is how I improved my Turkish. And that make me, like, how can I say, I have a grade that's above 3.9 out of 4 during my PhD. And it made also my supervisor understood that I have a mind on my own and I know where I was going. So when we sit down and we talk, he realized that he has something here. So he was more comfortable talking. It was more like, I don't know. One day I remember she told me when I'm in front of you, I feel like I'm the student and you are the professor.
Oh, that's good.
That's what he told me. Because it was quite difficult to get me. I remember that during my thesis, we argued a lot. Because, I worked in cheese, and the cheese is a local cheese, which is not really that popular. It's from Benin. So,
You mean Turkish cheese is not very popular?
No. I work in the Beninese cheese.
Okay,
so it's not really popular.
Please, don't ever, Turkish cheese is very popular.
Turkish cheese is popular, but the problem is when you see Turkish cheese has how can I say, when you look at the references, they have a scale. For example, when you take you have the dry matter, you have some scales. So my results were about those scales. And he was telling me, no, we cannot pass the result. But I said, we can pass it. Because you cannot compare my cheese to your cheese because
Now, I'm sure that's one of the reasons you had problem with your supervisor.
Yeah, because I don't know. I almost asked him one day, how did you get your PhD? But God help me, I didn't see that.
Let me ask, Professor, how would you feel someone asking you that question? If someone ever asked you that, you don't want...
No, of course, I didn't go to that extent, but I felt that Ojam, çok eskiden diploma aldığınızdan dolayı biraz dalgalanıyorsunuz. Like, I don't know, you are just shaking, but we can adjust that. But just in a friendly ways, you understand me? Like you said, it's really important to be obedient. And like I said, really important to be focused.
Okay, great.
That's the most important thing.
I told you there'll be lots of questions from you. So I'm just going to start. Where do I start with? Oh my God, this person is very respectful. Immediately you spoke about respect. Everybody became more respectful, even in writing. Dear Honorable Miss Lawyer.
Thank you.
Is it possible to work as a lawyer or as an international business lawyer in Turkey? For a foreigner,
No.
Is it possible?
No. I mean, if you graduated from a law school in your country, you cannot be a lawyer in Turkey. You have to finish also the law faculty in Turkey. And also, I cannot be a lawyer in a foreign country. I have to go and take the
Bar exam.
Yeah, but not the bar exam. I have to take some special lessons on that country's law system. And then I have to go to an exam there. So even, yes, I am a 25 years lawyer in Turkey.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm an old person.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, but even with those years, being a lawyer, working as a lawyer every day in Turkey, I cannot take a job in, for example, in Germany or in another country. So you cannot.
So is there an exam the person can take?
No. First of all, the foreigner must study law in a law faculty in Turkey. to be a lawyer in Turkey.
Because I think it's because, for example, if you're a Nigerian and you go to the UK, there's just an exam you can take.
But
Because the legal systems are almost the same. I think
was
that's the
saying,
difference.
So the legal system is different in each country. Some of them are so much different, so you have to study from the beginning, the first class in a law faculty in Turkey. But some of them are similar. In those countries, you have to take the different lessons only, and then when you finish, you will become a lawyer according to those countries' system.
Okay.
So a foreigner cannot be a lawyer in Turkey.
Geçmiş olsun yani.
Yeah, you have to study law.
Çok geçmiş olsun. Now, I'll take another question for you.
For me, okay.
What does it require for a foreigner to open and register a business in Turkey? And I think you're the right person to answer that question. What is the tax requirement? Okay, just that's what does it require for a foreigner to own a business in Turkey?
To start a business.
Yes.
I mean, if you want to, the business means it's a huge area. If you want to open up, for example, if you want to sell something, then you have to rent a place, so you can make rental contracts, be made for you. And then you will take goods. You don't need anything. You have to go to the tax office and you have to start your job, the legal part of it, with the tax office. And then you will start. If you want to have a company in Turkey, then it has its own procedure. And the foreigners can open a company in Turkey, as you know. And we are making a contract, the company contract, and then we are giving it to the Chamber of Commerce. And of course, it has a tax part of it. You have to do with the tax office, and you will start. And if you want to go to a company and work as an employee in there, then you go and attempt to the company, then you will start. I mean, it's the same for the Turkish citizens. Nothing else differs.
Okay.
It depends on what job you want to do.
Okay. Let me quickly take a question to the professor. Everybody's just so concerned about this now. What is the biggest challenge you've had with working with foreign students, especially African students? What's been your biggest challenge? I hope I'm not the only African student.
You were the only one. I had no challenge at all.
Oh, she said she had no challenge with me. Please, come on now. Come on now. And she said that was not a problem. Thank you. So, but what do you anticipate will likely be a challenge that African students will face with their professors?
Considering all the things that I have just listened to today, perhaps I can give you tips related to general Turkish citizen. In our culture, there is the idea asking too many questions, especially related to your relatives, your job, your past, your future. We ask questions to people who we want to get to meet, we want to make friends, most of the time. In our culture, we are curious people, especially for foreigners. We are curious about foreigners. Not only people from Africa, but our American friends, our friends from Ireland, they have the same problem. We ask too many questions, too many personal questions to foreigners.
Kira ne kadar?
Kira ne kadar, yes. Yes. And as Turkish people, we have similar problems in Europe and Canada and United States, what we call improved countries, or what do you call it? developed countries. They always ask us questions. Can you walk on the streets without a headscarf, for example? Do you ride camels? These are the questions that we meet when we go outside Turkey. So there are prejudices always that you meet, and sometimes your professors are as curious as a normal citizen that you meet on the street. So I just recommend be patient, and if they are curious about you, that means they are interested in you. Perhaps they just want to make friends with you. Be patient and don't tell anything about your rent or your past difficulties in life, but just let them know you. And when you ask them the same questions, you will see that they will respond telling you their perhaps most personal details. They will give you the most personal details. This is how in our culture we get to friends.
I think maybe because for us, maybe for me as a Nigerian and many people from Africa, we're not very good with volunteering information. We're very protective of our private lives. We're very protective of our personal information. For example, if someone is traveling, let's say I'm traveling to the UK tomorrow, and my neighbor asks me, "Oh, what's your plan? When are you going to travel?" I'm like, "No. And they say, "Oh, did you get the visa?" Oh, no. Then I can tell my uncles when I'm in the plane going to the UK, I can call my uncle and say, "Uncle, I'm actually considering going to the UK next year." So I'm already in the UK, I'm settled down, I'm working already, and I say, "Uncle, my visa interview is next week." So we come from that culture where we don't really volunteer information, and it goes to what Dr. Moses said. You just have to find a way to blend the two.
If I may,
Yes.
I share my itinerary with my neighbor and then give my key to my house to dog sit for our dog, for example. I do all those very personal things before taking off.
Well, I'm not sure I can do that here. I did have I rented an apartment somewhere some time ago, and the owner of the house, when I'm not around, will come into my house. I was not aware. So one day, I had friends of mine that came to stay with me, so I just left them at home and I went to work. And they were in my house. And then the next thing they called me, someone just opened your door and entered. I'm like, who's that? Describe the
That
person.
is the area of your, I think.
What should I do at that point? Go to the police.
Yeah, yeah, really.
That's something he did over and over.
And you can change the key?
No, I didn't change. I just moved.
That would be better.
I just moved because, I just moved because it's very hard to really understand it. When you're a foreigner, there are certain things you just have to be very careful about. That's the truth. When you're a foreigner, the more you go to the police, the more problematic you appear to be. And the more problematic they think you are, the more they want to get you out of the system. So sometimes you don't want to call the lawyer, you don't want to go to the police, you just want to say, "Kusura bak mabide yap mijam." You know, and that's it. Let me go to Dr. Moses. A few weeks ago, I asked a student who's a medical student here, and I said, "Would you like to be a medical doctor here, work here?" Unless I forget, the hospital here where he works employs 2 Africans. So let's clap for Egepol.
Actually,
3 Africans actually. So we anytime you want to go to a hospital, Egepol has not paid me, but they have employed my brother. Find yourself at Egepol. Just Egepol. Ask for Dr. Moses. It's not free, but you get someone nice to attend to you. Now, I asked a student here, I'm like, "Would you like to be a medical doctor here?" And she was like, "It's very difficult. They don't trust us as foreigners." And I don't know for you, but I experienced that even as a English teacher. I'm very, very confident to say it, and I say it off to anybody that cares where I work in my profession. I said, my first degree is in English language, my master's in English language, I have a CELTA, I have every degree that to be an English teacher. But when they still see an American who is what up,
Yeah.
and can't really speak, the English is just, they still prefer him, even though he hasn't been to school. He just has that passport.
Yeah.
He speaks street English. There are people like that. But they still prefer him to me, who is very well trained. So the young girl says, I can't be a doctor here because they don't trust me with their body, they don't trust me with their children, they don't trust me with anything. Did you face that challenge, and how did you deal with it?
I don't think that is 100% true,
Okay.
actually, because being a doctor in Turkey, yes, you're black. The first thing that the patient sees is that you're black, but when you give the person, and it always comes back to the language and your ability to communicate, because when you're able to speak the Turkish language in such a way, in such a level that the person thinks that he is confident, trusting you with his health issues, then it becomes easier. So it's basic communication. Like, he comes around, I speak Turkish, and he's like, whoa, are you Turkish or you're a foreigner, So when you speak very fluent Turkish and you're able to communicate, understand the problem the patient is coming with, and able to give him steps by step, treatment, itinerary or whatever you can call it, then that person is able to trust you. And I don't think, as a foreigner, as a black doctor in Turkey, I can't say I've experienced quite a lot of racism, no.
You haven't experienced
No,
a lot.
Not a lot.
That's good. Not a lot.
Maybe at first.
Just a few.
Yeah, maybe at first the patient comes, sees that you're black, they are kind of like, worried. And the first thing you need to do is to tell them not to get worried, You speak to them in a language they understand and try to calm them down. And before you know it, Turkish people are very, very, relaxed with information. They can trust you quite easily if they feel that you understand what they are going through. So being a doctor in Turkey, I don't think is hard, but it could be hard for someone that doesn't have communication skills, intermediate communication skills in Turkish.
Okay, thank you so much. I told you lots of questions for you, so we're just going to take this. If a foreigner gets rejected on his or her attempt for residency permit extension, and is sentenced to a 10-day period to leave. You're given a 10 days to leave, duration to leave the country. How can he or she overcome this and try to turn it around? Let me share my experience with you. I think me and we had this challenge some years ago. I don't know, I forgot my paper expired, my resident permit expired. And I know I had, she made me understand I had 90 days to sort that out anyway. So, but my paper expired and I had to go to the immigration and all of those. And there was this particular woman at the immigration office. If I describe her, I'm sure most of you would know her. And she just kept giving me problem, asking that I would leave. Now, she's going to give you the legal part. I'm just telling you what I did now spiritually. If that makes any sense to you. So she was there talking to them and saying, no, you can't. This is this. She was trying to explain the legal stuffs to them. Legal stuffs. I do what I know. So I stand there and I'm speaking in tongues. Now, only Christians understand what I mean by that now. I'm speaking in tongues there and praying and then after a few minutes, one man comes forward and talks to her, and everything is over. And then when we finished, she looked at me and said, what language were you speaking there? What language were you speaking there? I'm like, I'm trying to speak in tongues because I noticed some folks here acting like demons. So this comes back to you. Someone in this problem has 10 days to leave the country. What can that person do?
First of all, I have to, I mean, as a lawyer, I have to look to the papers that he has. Sometimes, like in your situation, sometimes we have some other rights, I mean, to use. But if everything has finished, I mean, everything is in order, then yeah, you have to leave. But it depends. It depends. I mean, to the situation that you are in, and to the papers you have, and it depends. And sometimes it depends on the papers. Sometimes it depends on the person that that demon there. If it is a really demon or not, it depends. For example, that lady she was the demon. But then we made it with the man there, and then another lady, the top of the demon there, and she understood what I said, and she made the papers do for you, and we made it. Of course, I am a good lawyer.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
That's why, in fact.
I say it anywhere. When I speak to persons, I say I'm privileged to know one of the best lawyers in Izmir. One of the best lawyers. Please clap in Turkey.
No, of course, thank you.
Please clap. It's not a joke.
It is,
I always say to her, I said, since I have you, I have no reason to speak to any other lawyer.
Of course.
Okay. I'll take just a few more questions and we'll begin to round up. Okay. Now, this is about work permits. Can a foreigner do a self-work permit? Can a foreigner do a work permit by himself without any company?
I don't know. But if individually,
Yes, individual work permits.
then you have a job, and you are working in your job.
Yes.
Then, as a company that you have, yes, you can give yourself the work permit. Yeah, of course you can make it. I mean, if you're the owner of the work, the job, and no, if you have a job, then you have the work permit.
If you have, let's say I'm not employed by anybody, and I have a company of my own.
Yeah, of course you can. Your company can give you a work permit, of course.
Okay. And this one says, does the Turkish law favor the men over the women? Does the Turkish law favor the men over the women? Is it the Turkish law? Is it more in favor of the women?
No.
So it's equal. Everyone has.
Oh, yeah, it is equal. Also, favors in some kind the woman.
In some way, favors the woman.
If we can, if the system can work properly, it favors the woman, because all the law systems favors the weak one. And the woman in most of the cases
Is the weak one.
The weak one. So it favors the woman, in fact.
So as a foreigner, I'm the weak one. No.
No, in fact.
Bitti now.
The foreigners has all the rights that the Turkish citizens have in Turkey, and also there are so much favors for you. For example, in the university exams, and also to be a doctor, it's harder for a Turkish medical student to have the.
Actually, what she
you have.
Yes,
you have
because
more chances.
a normal Turkish person, when you finish the university, you have to go to a mandatory, what they call zorunlu hizmet, which takes like a year and a half. And when you're through with that, then you come back. That's when you can begin to work in the system. But as a foreigner, you can go from the university directly into the system and start working without having to go through any.
That's splendid.
And I think also if for in the university exam you have some special rights.
Yes, but that right is overtuned because you take that right, you go to the, for higher education, which is what we call specialization, but then you have a problem with the finances. You are being paid less and much more lesser than. So it's not actually a good system. It could be worked upon.
Also to buy to buy a land in Turkey, the foreigners has some rights also. The government gave to.
What right do I have to buy a land here if I want to buy a land?
Of course, you can have whatever you want, but by buying land, the government, I don't know the exact details of the law, that law, but in some part of the, I think in some amount of money, when you buy a land in Turkey, then they give you the citizenship, something like that. It was something like that. So this was the right given to the foreigners.
Okay.
And so they make favors,
Like this. Okay. As I believe that's exhausted all the questions that I have here. So what I'm just going to do is ask you to say, give your final words, your final tips. Let me start from your final legal tips for anybody, Turkish citizen, foreigner. What advice would you give to them as a lawyer?
And knowing the rights is so much important. Even the Turkish citizens, they don't know their rights truly. So when you start working or doing something in Turkey as an individual, whether you are a foreigner or not, first of all, you have to learn the legal details of the job that you want to do. Also, the tax part of it. It is also so much important.
So much tax in Turkey.
So much. And so, don't jump to anything in Turkey because it will cause you lots of pains after that. So please, take advices from a lawyer or from the person who made it once. So I can say that. And I will be glad if you call me and ask me. My phone is always open for you.
Okay, I'll take from you. Yes, the professor. Your final tips for students, foreigners, non-citizens. What's your final tips?
I would recommend to make friends with Turkish students, because having students at the university level is making friends for life. And when you make your friends from Turkey, it will make things easier, just as Doctor said. And you will get to know the culture. You will have a family of friends to help you when you feel that you are not on safe grounds. They can help you with the language. They can help you find the legal help if you cannot find, for example. And stick with such congregations to feel strong. Just use every kind of strength you can find. But it is not a recommendation for a foreigner, actually.
It's for everybody.
It is for everyone. Because, believe or not, the same problems is relevant for Turkish citizens as well. It is problems with life. It's not very much different for foreigners. I can understand, of course. There are certain problems that we do not face in daily life, but most of the problems seem to be common. Yeah. Don't forget that. Don't think that you are singled out most of the case. I know sometimes you are singled out, but don't feel that that is something constant. Just trust people to be trustable, who are trustable. I don't know.
Okay.
Choose your friends and be friends, make friends with them.
Okay.
That's a great strength.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, for this. What I would say basically is you need to have a strong mindset to stay in Turkey. What I mean by having a strong mindset is, let me put it that way, there are, I don't know if you agree, there are dry lands, I mean to seed something, maize or all, but even though those lands are dry, people are still able to harvest, to make some good
Make
harvest.
something out of it.
You understand? Meaning that it's not because the system is that bad that you won't be able to have your own or to achieve your purpose. You understand? Meaning that you need to know how to work out depending on what you want to achieve. Another thing is that we need to learn also how to be flexible. You know, we all know that Turkish people are somehow difficult, but you know, I'm sorry for what I'm saying, because I know I didn't have the luck to meet really nice people in Turkey, unfortunately. Yeah, that's the truth. But what I want also to understand, I want us also to understand is that sometimes the person you are meeting at the moment might have also been going through a lot that makes him really disagreeable towards you. So need learn to how to be flexible and see the things from different angles.
Perspectives, yes.
Perspectives. And like I said, it's good to make friends, but choose wisely.
Yes, Dr. Moses.
Well, my final point, and in as much we didn't talk a lot about mental health,
Yes.
actually, which we but if we are going to leave here today, I would like to just say a couple of sentences concerning mental health in students. Like a lot of African students and other students as well, they don't actually understand the impact of, mental health on their academic situations, like depression, loneliness, helplessness. All these things contributes and try to bring you down. The more focused you try to remain, these are distractions that you have to, get to fight and get rid of. And the first thing you need to do is to understand what exactly you're going through. If you have a mental, psychological problem, what is it that you have? Is it anxiety? Or is it depression? Is it loneliness? Is it helplessness? And when you get and to understand your problem, then you begin to talk about the solution and how to get help. We Africans love to think that, we are really big people.
We're strong.
We are strong. We are not affected by
Depression.
or anxiety. So whenever the symptoms, slight symptoms begin to set in.
What could be the symptoms of depression and anxiety?
Yeah, the symptoms of depression, mostly it's more like, you begin to not really enjoy or not have enjoy what you used to enjoy before. For example, if you used to play sports and, you really have fun playing sports, and all of a sudden you don't have that satisfaction, doing that thing, and then you begin to have other symptoms such as sleeplessness, and then you begin to, have other symptoms such as, you begin to distance yourself from people, try to close up, try to think that people are making fun of you, and you try to just close yourself up. Those are symptoms of depression, and in the long run, it affects your brain, your mental strength. It affects the way you think, and you just find yourself in a situation whereby you try to avoid anything challenging in life. So the more you close the doors, then depression sets in, anxiety sets in, worries sets in, and you find yourself in a kind of a connecting psychological thing that ends up being worse, than the beginning. So what I would actually recommend is that having to know the symptoms of mental health and getting help is actually very important. The earlier you get the help, the better it is, because when it goes to an extent that it goes to psychosis or schizophrenia, then it's much more harder to treat. You can easily treat loneliness, which is just the main basic thing, by talking to someone. You can treat your anxieties by having some meditations or exercising, right? But whenever it goes to major depression and psychosis, then you need to see a doctor for it. And don't be shy, don't be afraid of approaching a doctor with your mental health, because it's very, very important, and it will help you with your education as well.
I know most people want to make everything spiritual at times. I've been here when people come to me. I'm very comfortable to say, yes, I know the spiritual part of these things. We could pray it, but I'm very comfortable and very, very comfortable sending people to say, go and see Dr. Moses. I know that sometimes I say, okay, I think I met with, when we had a particular issue we had, and I said, Dr. Moses, okay, I know there's spiritual part to all of these things. I said, I'm praying, but he needs to see you and see what we could do about it. And together, the guy is okay now. He's back in his country, and he's doing well, actually. Yeah. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Let's put our hands together for our wonderful discussion today. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. Thank you again. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, sir. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. Please, let's put our hands together for them. If you want to rise to your feet, you can just rise to your feet and let's say, God, we are grateful and we thank you. We bless you. No, it's okay if you want to sit down now. Father, we are grateful for today. We thank you. The choir could just come around as well. I know Brahma is going to be coming up soon. So let's just go ahead and give God praise for what he's done for us today. Let's celebrate God and say, God, thank you for the knowledge that I have received today. Thank you for the experience that people have shared with us, the advice we have gotten today. God, help me to use them. Help me to work upon them. Don't let me forget what I've learned today. The Bible says a foolish man looks at the mirror and forgets what he has seen. I want you to know that what you have received today is able to build you up, is able to change your life. So I just wanted to talk to God and say, help me to make use of what I've learned today to help my life, to transform my life. God, we just want to thank you, Lord. We just give you praise. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed. Bless you.
Praise the Lord. This is a time where we take our tithe and offering. So while we